Thanks for joining us in the Green Room from the Heritage Foundation. I'm Rob Bluey, and today we're joined by Senator Orrin Hatch, ranking member on the Senate Finance Committee, and he's visiting Heritage today to talk about Medicaid reform. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Oh, nice to be with you.
Now, Medicaid is a program for low-income Americans. Can you tell us about why this program needs reform?
Well, first of all, when Medicaid started out, there were 5 million Americans were covered. Today, 1 out of 4. The states are now, the states have to pay for quite a bit of Medicaid. The federal government helps to a degree, but the federal government's broke. And I might add that the states are broke too. There's at least $175 billion in the hole on Medicaid alone, and some estimate it could be as high as $300 billion. And a lot of states make it work, but it's consuming an awful lot of their budget, consuming a lot of their law enforcement budget, their education budget. It's a matter of great concern.
How did Obamacare make this worse?
Well, first of all, Obamacare established itself by basically taking $500 billion out of Medicare Advantage, and then also increasing taxes, and by making it so that there are more and more people eligible for Medicaid and Medicare, by the way, without having any funds to be able to follow up on and do the job.
So now you have a plan to fix Medicaid. What would it do?
Well, first of all, what we'd like to do is we'd like to block grant the monies to the states, give the states flexibility to be able to manage these funds, the flexibility to be able to live within their means, because we know the federal government's not going to live within its means, and give the states a lot more control over what happens rather than have the federal government dictate even more and more burdens on the states, which is what they're doing. And the states are up in arms about it. We sent a letter to all of the governors in this country, and we've received a lot of responses from the Republican governors. We haven't received any from the Democrat governors except Phil Bredesen, who thinks that Obamacare is just awful. And he's right on that.
Now, those governors in the
and
letter...
he's a Democrat, by the way, so that's an interesting thing as far as I'm concerned.
Now, those governors have said that they want more freedom when it comes to Medicaid. Do you think the White House will listen? As I understand, they do have some control over what they can do now.
Well, their approach is this maintenance of effort approach that just requires more and more burdens to be assumed by the states. And the governors are saying we could handle it if we have the flexibility, if you block grant this money to us, or at least the Republican governors are saying this. And there are really a lot of Democrat governors that wish we could pull this off because they themselves know that Medicaid alone is going to eat an awful lot of their budget up. And that includes education budgets, includes law enforcement budgets, and all of the others in between.
41 of your Senate Democrat colleagues have flat out ruled out again any reforms to Medicaid. How do you deal with that opposition in terms of trying to promote your reforms?
Well, we got to beat them in the next election. We've just got to get enough people here who are sensible, who really look at these matters and say, hey, we have to live within our means. Something has to be done. We got to get this out of politics and get it into economics, true economics, and acknowledge the fact that we're not living within our means, and Obamacare really doesn't work. I know what's going to happen. If the president is reelected, within a year or two, he'll throw his hands in the air and say, this is not working, we've got to go to a single-payer system. In other words, a Washington one-size-fits-all socialized medicine system. That's what they're after. That's what they've been after from day one. They would have done it if they could have, and frankly, they've almost done it with what you call Obamacare, and that's why no Republican voted for it, and I don't think any Republican in his or her right mind would vote for it at this particular point. In fact, I think there are a lot of Democrats thinking, why did I vote for that?
Now, we're having a debate right now in Washington over the debt ceiling. How does Medicaid and the entitlement programs fit into that larger debate?
Well, we know that they're hugely costly programs, and we also know that, the federal government's broke. We're $14.5 trillion in debt as we sit here, going up every day, headed towards, according to the president's own actuaries, $20+ trillion, where the interest alone is going to be $1 trillion. We can't live with that without turning into Greece and having all the problems that Greece currently has. We're going to have to live within our means and start buckling our belts and saying, hey, there's only so much we can do, and we're going to have to live within those constraints.
Senator Orrin Hatch, thank you for joining us.
Nice to be with you.
For the Heritage Foundation, I'm Rob Bluey. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more great videos, and also consider sharing this on Facebook and Twitter.